just to pick up on Katie George Dunlevy and Eve McChrystal there on the track, and to put context on how Katie George has been over the last number of months, she had surgery on her collarbone last May and has had to rehab that, and she's back on the track.
Yeah, and like I say, like the emotion, it's raw. Like she was keeping that all under wraps. Like obviously people knew she had the crash, but very few would have known what it takes to get back up and running. And like I say, this close to a games, like we spoke about like how athletes, you know, like any change in their schedule can almost like disorientate them. But like she is so single focused. She's a really good teammate in Eve. She's probably that trust that can bounce. A huge base fitness. She's at this a long time. And I suppose she knew she just had to trust, right, we're going to get back fit, we're going to get back dialed in, but you're trying to find form as well coming into an event, which is never ideal. And you could tell they were struggling, but they were, you know, at the end of the day, they got a great effort out, and they were consistent across the two efforts, which a lot of bikes today, like you could see the fade in the second effort. So like, I think the legs are there, and obviously it's not their preferred event.
Yeah, and I suppose you said earlier, I think, that you almost weren't expecting them to do as well as they did, because they have these better events coming up. And I wonder, did it take much out of them today, and would you be worried about that?
Again, they've huge aerobic capacity, like, so they're just the most consistent bike you will come across. They hit those speeds and they just can tolerate the effort, they recover well. I was just surprised. Usually you go to a World Championships, I know the kilo isn't the preferred event for most of our tandems. It's a real specialist event. It's a speed power event, and we're endurance bikes that transfer really well over to the road. I was just surprised because like you had a heat and then you made it to a final, and I've seen other bikes and other events that kind of almost punched in the final. They just said, right, I'm almost here accidentally, let's not jeopardise my big one. Now again, look, that would have been debriefed with the squad. They would have went through it, and they obviously backed themselves. It's like, look, it's another effort in the gate, it's another way to get the power out, and again, like I said, she's trying to find form, so maybe a bit more racing is no harm in this scenario.
Well, that's just it. If she was out injured and then, you know,
exactly,
had surgery and recovered from that.
Yeah, find those sea legs as quick as you can.
Yeah. Michael, have you ever heard the likes of Ronan Grimes saying that I didn't train for this, I just turned up, and the effort that he put in? It was an amazing race.
Yeah, it's an amazing race, and it just goes to show that the pedigree he has, and to be able to come out and execute on in a race that he said that he didn't train for. So it just goes to show that he has the mentality of a high performer, and it just goes to show that he can execute at the highest level. And at the Paralympic Games again, it's another opportunity to go out there. It is his last Paralympic Games, and we'll see what happens next.
And the big one for the audience, almost like acknowledge what Ronan, like, so one, again, it's back to, that's a power speed event. Ronan's disability, he's clubfoot, without getting into all the details, but I can guarantee you he's after going 3 seconds faster, and he didn't find that in the first lap. Like, he would struggle with the first lap to get the bike up to speed. So it's kind of telling me, it's giving me a good indication. Ron's in form. He's after finding 3 seconds in the last 3 laps. So that's where your speed and your endurance, and like a lot of riders in that event do a really fast first 2 laps and then they fade dramatically. Ronan's last 3, he was just getting faster, faster, faster. So bodes really well for a pursuit.
Yeah, it's interesting, Alva, like you remember a time before Ireland had a 50-metre swimming pool that athletes and elite athletes could train in. It's very hard to believe sometimes how well our track cyclists do without a velodrome.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom, to be honest. I was very lucky growing up. I had the National Aquatic Centre on my doorstep, and it's such an incredible facility. A lot of swimmers don't have a 50-metre swimming pool nearby,